show, but not my show.
What's up, world changer? This is my show, but not my show, with my man John and I myself, Lwando from South Africa. We are in Johannesburg right now as I speak. How are you, man?
I'm doing excellent, man. I'm greatly blessed. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. You can see I look excited. But it does happen, you know, sometimes people, they look at you like you look angry, but, you know, inside you are excited. And that's how I feel today. I don't know how I look on the outside. You can tell me.
No, you look good, man.
Mm-hmm.
You look good.
That's good.
Maybe it's the lighting, eh? But you look better.
That's good. How's your day so far?
No, it's good, eh? It's interesting. I don't know if the audience know too much, but we're doing a coffee shop here at the church.
Yeah.
And business is up and down. Eh? Running a new business, it's interesting. Last year, towards the end of the year, people obviously had more money. They were spending more,
Yeah.
and now January, February, it's an up and down thing. Eh? And towards now, you're looking towards more aggressive marketing, things like that. So we're rolling out a seat sitting area, and I've been busy with that the whole day. Eh? So yeah, I've been busy with work. Eh?
Hectic.
Yeah, I guess what the Christians also work. Eh?
Yeah.
We also
True.
do
We
that,
have
yeah.
to work harder than anyone.
I think
That's
so.
actually the culture.
Yes.
This is the lifestyle of a Christian.
Examples. Yeah.
And you say you sell coffee, but I've never seen you advertise your coffee to me. It's a
It is.
surprise. It's something that's new, you know.
They say that you shouldn't sell to people who already buy your product. It's just a waste of time.
Okay. Okay.
You don't sell to two people. People who already
Yeah.
buy because they'll get annoyed, or people who won't buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Unsellable. Yeah.
before we actually introduce our topic for our show, what we're doing right now, what is your best principle that you have learned out of doing business?
Honesty, eh? People just won't work with you if you're not honest. So I think that whatever it is that you do, whether you're working up and down, or whatever techniques or marketing techniques you employ, whatever culture you involve in your company, whatever it is, because I used to work with my father in a carpentry company as well. And the main thing is that the thing that keeps you in business, that keeps you alive, is honesty. You always have to keep communication and keep talking to your clients, your authorities, your employees, and it keeps you alive. Because if there's as soon as a customer or anybody around you loses trust, then you become uncredible, and people no longer want to work with you.
Yeah.
Especially in a high competitive environment as well. It's honesty, and I mean exactly that the way that the Bible describes it's that it's a cage that locks you in.
Yeah.
It sets you free.
Yeah.
When you speak the truth. And also, I mean, I think as the world may not be as forgiving as Christians as well. You make one wrong move, they instantly point at you, and they judge you more harshly as well, because they know you're a Christian.
Yeah.
I mean, like the stickers that you have on your cars, the crosses that you have everywhere. So I mean, like, it's not like we want to hide it, but it's rather obvious.
Because also, like, the first word that comes out of your mouth, you know, as Christians, sometimes, I don't know if it's being spiritual, but you just have that thing, in the name of the Lord. You know, I don't know if they do it here in our nation. I don't know about in other places.
Yeah.
But you know, people, when they greet you in the name of Jesus, how are you? Like, they have the Bible also under in their hands. You know that. Have you ever done that before?
No, I've never done that. No. No, that's, I mean, like, maybe after reading
Does
the Bible.
Does it look good, though? Because for me, it's not impressive, to be honest.
That's a fashion statement. If you're walking around like that, then it's like, now it becomes clothing rather than the usage for it.
To have a Bible in your hands, but you never even preach the gospel to the lost people. Yeah, it's kind of deep, ne? Okay, this is our show, the best show, a place to be where you get inspired. We preach hope, we preach the good news. Don't forget to visit our website www.activefm.co.za and also our Facebook page /@ActiveFM777, our Instagram page at ActiveFM777, and also our Twitter at ActiveFM. As I said, what do we have for us for this week, Mr. John?
So
What are we talking about?
We're going into the book of Ruth, and this is a book about a very wise serving woman, and I think that she exudes a great amount of servanthood throughout the story that we follow her in, and so she's a Moabitess woman, and she's a foreigner from Israel, and now the way that she gets included into the story is that there's a woman named Naomi. She travels from Jerusalem, from Bethlehem, and they come to the city of Moab, and the land of Moab. And when they're there, she has her husband and sons. Now her sons marry they marry Ruth, and basically, I mean, they have a family there, and at the time, the land was doing very well. And they actually moved away from Bethlehem because there was famine in the land.
Yeah.
And during the time that when they were together, it was doing really well in the land of Moab. And then the famine also struck Moab, right? And then they had to go back to Israel. Why? Because both of Naomi's sons actually passed away. And there was another daughter. If you can just correct me on that, I can't remember her name now.
It's Orpah.
Orpah, yeah.
If I'm not.
Orpah.
Yeah, you got it right.
I think it's Orpah, yeah. And
did you say opera?
No,
okay.
Orpah.
I was just checking, like, wow. I thought opera has been existing since like 1,000 years ago. She's still alive today. No, carry on, sorry.
Yeah, there are more by tests. So, I mean, like, you never know, you know. So anyway, so she actually had so both of them were encouraged by Naomi to actually leave the land of Moab and to go into the country and to not bother with Naomi anymore, because now Naomi's going to go back to a land where and look, the culture as well there as well, very similar to how it is here. They will feel very out in the land of foreigners. The cultures are different, and she's no longer going to be in a land that's familiar to her. But so Orpah, she gave her she said her goodbyes as she left, and then Ruth decided to stay with Naomi, and they went back to Israel together. And she actually, the way that Ruth handled herself, where she said that she would stay next to, she'd be with Naomi up to the point that she would even die. That was how strong her loyalty was to Naomi. And she even, towards the end, she said that I will serve your God. And that was what is interesting to me, is that what kind of character did Naomi exude?
Yeah.
You know, that Ruth became attached to.
Yeah.
And they went back to the land of Bethlehem, and that's when so Ruth, when they came back to Bethlehem, there was actually Naomi's husband Elimelech. He had a kinsman named Boaz, who was quite a rich man in Bethlehem. And so Ruth went to go glean after the workers, and gleaning is basically just to pick up the dried, the cut wheat, and to pick it up after the servants. And she went after them, and she decided to work amongst men, which is not something that a foreign woman would just decide to do. Often there was during the story, you see that there were warnings of that these men might even molest her. And so she took that courage to do so, and she never knew that Boaz was in this was the owner of this land, and that he was even related to her ex-husband, her past husband. And so she decided to do it anyway. And so she did it a couple of times, and Boaz actually had come from another trip from another land, and he saw the woman, and he allowed her to carry on gleaming from her, and then eventually, slowly but surely, she gained favor with him, and she gained favor to the point where he trusted her in his house with the other maidservants
Yeah.
that followed as well, and he basically protected her. And Naomi's advice was to stay close to the maidservants because they would protect her from all types of dangers in there. And besides, at that time, even though the Bethlehem was doing better, there weren't that many options,
Yeah.
especially for a foreigner
Yeah.
in Israel. And it was simply her servanthood and her wisdom as well, her obedience to Naomi, and the decisions that she made.
Yeah.
It's to me, when I look at that, a lot of people can say that's weakness. A lot of people, especially in the world today, can say that it's even sucking up. But I think it takes courage to go up to go up to somebody that you're not even familiar with, that's outside of your culture and your country, and to just do that. You need a different type of perspective, and I definitely believe that she longed for the God of Israel, as also what she was granted wisdom
Yeah.
for that. So basically, what happens is that Boaz is now meant to redeem her, and that was his intention, to redeem. Well, that's what she wanted from him initially. What actually happened is that Naomi had given her advice to when he was sleeping after work, that to come lay at his feet, and in humility, obviously, and that when he were to wake up, he would notice her, and that now in Jewish culture at the time was seen as a great sign of humility and servanthood. And so he noticed, he said, look, lay with me until the morning, and you have favor. And Boaz as well, for me to look at that as well, Boaz at any situation could have taken advantage of her, but he didn't. And he as well stands out as a nobleman as well. And for me to look at that, I'm like, that's the type of men that women should be sorting after. You know what I'm saying? So there's that, and then we look at Boaz. Actually, he goes to a council of men in Israel, who is actually the owner of the land that Naomi owned.
Yeah.
Right, and Naomi is obviously her ex-husband. He owned it, and they get to the point of now saying, okay, look, will you buy this piece of land?
Yeah.
And redeem Naomi.
Yeah.
And he says, no, look, I will do that, and I will bring it to restoration. He says, and then now obviously Boaz, he put in word for Ruth, saying, now if you do that, and you must also purchase Ruth.
Yeah.
To bring her into redemption. He says, no, look, I can't do that because then I risk my own inheritance being lost. And so then Boaz stood up, and basically he was said, no, look, I will do it. If you will give me your right, because it wasn't his right to do that. Ruth belonged to the son of Elimelech. And that was his right. So he gave that up to Boaz, and Boaz took on the right. They had a son named Perez. Okay, so the son's name was Obed, and he was the father of Jesse, which is the father of David and the ancestor of Jesus Christ. So it's interesting here how, regardless of whether or not she was a foreigner, she was actually the one to carry the ancestor of Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying, which is Obed, and he actually the son Obed was the ancestor of King David, which is so crazy. So God doesn't really look at. For me, this is what stands out for the book as well. Is that God doesn't really look at race and color and background. It's fully character.
Yeah.
And she was engrafted into the lineage of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And you know, I feel like talking about this book, there's nothing that you need to add.
Yeah.
Because the way it is, I mean, it's clear. You can read and just get it there, how this woman was like. And there are many, like, I can say, views that I have, in a way struggling to connect them, you know, to bring that point. But we actually call this woman in purpose because of what she did. So first thing that you learn about her is that she came as a slave, but she ended up as a mother of the house that she came into. But she came as someone who was serving. And I remember my pastor saying this, you know, servanthood never fails, never loses, but will always win. And it always takes me back whenever I read something about, you know, serving, that, you know, when God created the whole creation, what happened is that God was serving. You know, God, specific when God was creating the trees, before he put the man, he planted the garden for man. But God was actually doing what? God was serving.